about their experience of applying.
Yes, thank you very much for that, Rachel. We wanted to share what it's actually like from the point of view of an organisation that's been accredited. So first of all, why, and then what. So I'm going to be talking about mostly about the why, and then Sam, my colleague, is going to take over, and because he did most of the work on actually filling in the necessary details. I think the question about why is particularly interesting for us because, you know, as Lydia mentioned, we've been going for a while. To be precise, nearly 14 years we've been going. We've been a member of Social Enterprise UK. We are B Corp. We're known as a social enterprise. We serve social enterprises. Why on earth would we need yet another accreditation? And actually, there's some really, really good reasons. And of course, Rachel gave you some of those reasons that might apply to you. But these are the reasons for us. First of all, the rigor of the accreditation process is really interesting to us. We learn through going through accreditations, and there are others that we have. So, you know, we have we're an accredited living wage employer. We have accreditation from the Mayor of London's Good Work Scheme, and in each case, what happens is that we raise our game. We understand what they're looking for, what's the best practice, and I actually find it really, it's both reassuring and it's aspirational for us to learn and try and go for what the absolute gold standard is. I'm happy to say that I think we did pretty well in the sense that not only did we get accredited, but the team from Social Enterprise Mark came back and said, oh, you might even be eligible for our gold mark, and do you want another conversation? Which we haven't done yet, but that was very affirming. So yeah, we did have to put a bit of our house in order, but not much. But it was still, that was really helpful. So we always learn through the accreditation process. That was the first thing. The second thing is proof and legitimacy to externals. We had put in place an asset lock. There's been some discussion in the chat about what that is, but there are a number of funders. We do a mixture of trading and fundraising as part of our model, and some of the things, and investment raising as well, and social investment space, and a number of the funders require you to have certain criteria. We have two organizations. One is a company limited by shares and one is a CIC. Sometimes some funders look sideways at us for our company limited by shares. Are you really a social enterprise? You know, what about your shareholders? Are they just going to take all the money out of the company and run off with it into the sunset? Well, I have to say, shareholders have put large amounts of their own cash in, and in all our years of trading, they've had one very tiny dividend once. So I don't think they're expecting to run off into any sunsets based on that. It's all about the impact, and they're very engaged in the impact. But we can demonstrate that also through now the Social Enterprise Mark. Part of our accreditation process was demonstrating that asset lock, but also our other impact focus, our governance structures, and so on and so forth. So it's easier now for us to say, yeah, you don't need to do long due diligence on us and listen to us pleading that we are really a social enterprise, even though we're a company limited by shares. Look, we've got an external accreditation that you can trust and that is well known in the sector, and you know, that opens doors for us. So that's the second thing. The third thing is the relationships. I actually first spoke to the team at Social Enterprise Mark. We were organising last September. We were organising a hackathon, Build Back Better theme, and we first kind of started having conversations about that, about them supporting that and being a partner. And I immediately was struck by how warm and friendly the team were. They've been consistently helpful through the accreditation process, as part of, you know, reaching out as part of sharing their networks, sharing things that we want to share with them. And yeah, you know, when you just deal with people who just have warmth to them. So we're big believers in the Impact Hub network, in the power of relationship, the power of community. And these guys are, exemplary in that. So it's a lovely thing to be part of, and it's very genuine. You know, there's no sense that you're being sold to, or it's just human to human. This is what matters to us, and let's help you make it happen. So it's deeply, deeply appreciated. So those three things really were all very motivating for us. The learning process through the rigor of the accreditation, the legitimacy and proof that it gave us to external stakeholders, and then that relationship and network. The process is actually not so hard. I know when Rachel goes through, you know, there's this stage and this, you know, it can look like it's difficult. Really, it really wasn't. But of course, it's very easy for me to say that because actually I didn't do most of the work. That was Sam. So I'm going to hand over to Sam now. We picked Sam to do it because he's part of our fundraising team. He's a really great copywriter, and he had the joyous task of having me basically do a big brain dump on him. Here it is. This is what we need to say. And he then turned it into something that was clear and beautiful and easy to understand. So credit to him. Over to Sam.
Thanks, Devi. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't have a whole lot to say really. It was I was sort of just doing the social impact assessment form, and like Devi said, it was sort of like a big old brain dump of all the sort of impact and all the areas we were trying to cover, and trying to write that down and get it a bit of coherence and a bit of sense out of it all. But I think what's quite a good example of why maybe the mark can seem a bit more daunting than it actually is I did the same thing. I sort of took this form that we needed to fill out and set off writing it as I normally write a proposal or a funding application or something, and firing in loads of detail and all these things, and quickly realized that actually looking at sort of how Social Enterprise Mark wanted it, it doesn't need to be incredibly detailed. It doesn't need to be really elaborate. It was actually sort of just capturing the key elements of where we work and how we work and the most important stuff. So actually it was I would have liked to have realized that a little bit quicker than I did, but yeah, no, it was a good learning process. And actually I think Devi's right in terms of going through the form. It's about your social impact. It's about what you aim to do, what actions you are doing, where you see the difference, how you're measuring the difference, all these like really important things for social impact and for social enterprises. And I think for us, we're constantly talking about the different areas. We have the co-working space for social entrepreneurs. We have our programs that help different entrepreneurs from different backgrounds. And it was about really sort of actually getting that all down and putting it systematically in, okay, this is helping in this area, this is helping in this area. And it's very good for sort of sorting out where you see the most impact and where you're doing a lot of work, and also where maybe you need to do a little bit more work as well. I think it's good to sort of really sort of specify where it all is. So overall, in the end, it was a really good process, and the form is nowhere near as hard as you might think it is, and I highly recommend getting it done. And I look forward to the gold mark, which should be more lovely sort of copywriting.
Great, thank you very much, Sam.